Welcome to Get Set, an old girls entertainment podcast where we talk set life and stories as three women in the TV and film industry. Wow, wow, wow.
I'm trying.
You can leave the sound effects to me.
Okay. Yes, I will.
So, as you may have guessed, today our guest is someone you are very, very familiar with. Unless this is episode 1 for you, then welcome and please go back to all the others. But it is the one, the only, Jessica Payne.
That was the better sound effect. You're right.
As we've mentioned, Jessica is an award-winning writer and director, and as we discussed in a previous episode, she received her bachelor's degree in cinema and English literature. English?
Yeah.
Listen, we recorded another episode before this, so you're going to take this one. I'm a little tongue-tied. But in a degree in cinema and English literature, which I mean, perfect for a writing person. And she hit the ground running before she moved to LA, and in LA, she's just taking off. So, Jess, welcome to my podcast called Get Set.
Thank you. What a lovely room we're in.
I know. It's Jessica's room. Jess, this is a long answer, but let's get right into it. Why writing? Why directing? Why all of it?
Why not? And that's the end of our podcast
And thank
episode.
you.
Thank
Good
you
night.
so much for listening.
No advice, no experience. Just good
Yeah.
night.
Well, I guess, okay, so let me first start off. I want to start with like my schooling experience because I think that's when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Going out of high school, I was like, I just want to be in the film industry. I know I want to do that. I thought originally acting because I was like, oh my
Huge
God.
shock
the
to me. I had no idea when you told me this.
I know, but listen, I love actors so much.
Yeah, you're definitely an actor's director.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that they're awesome. I think that they just make the shit real.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's just for me.
Yeah, I'm in a room with an actor, so I gotta hype her up. No, but I think, yeah, I just always wanted to be an actor. I was like, this looks like so much fun. You know what it was? Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
So
Mary
bad.
Kate and Ashley.
No. Okay, so I don't know. This is the nerd in me coming out. You ready? So Lord of the Rings, the making of, they like made all the movies in like one go, and I think it was a year or something that they filmed like straight, all of them.
Oh, I did not know
So
this.
I was like so obsessed with all this like behind the scene footage because they all got really close, because they're
Yeah.
all like filming stuff like away from their families and like doing on this like big adventure with these epic movies. And like they're all so funny and like hilarious and just cracking jokes. And you see all this behind the scenes stuff like of these actors, right? And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like so much fun. It looks so cool. So anyways, I was like, acting, that's where it is. Well, I got into community college and I realized very quickly that I'm not an actor. I feel like
How so?
How so? Oh, don't you worry, I will tell you. No, I feel like I can act really well when I'm like by myself in my room and like
Our best work.
yeah, your best work is the one that no one sees. Same thing with like singing in the shower. I sound fucking phenomenal. But as soon as they're like,
You're
okay,
Adele in the shower.
Yeah.
You are Adele.
I can belt, sit in the car by myself, and amazing. No, but then whenever they're like, sing to me, Pablo. I'm like that quiet girl in Pitch Perfect that like can't.
A little
speak,
mousy.
like, yeah, I'm like I can't. I freeze.
You're just a beatboxer.
Yeah. That's what it is. I just am in the wrong genre. No, but yeah, I freeze up, or I don't know. It just doesn't translate. There's something in my body that just like stops, which I'm sure maybe if I were like really, really tried, I could get over, but I don't know. I think what it was that the reason I was like, oh, this is so cool. And like, I tried stuff in college, like theater type performances where I was like part of the ensemble. Again, loved it because I loved like hanging out with all the crazy people. And like, it was like,
You
were
like
with
being a
them
part
all
of a team.
Yes. It was so fun. But I knew that I was like, oh, I'm not an actor. I don't like memorizing lines. I don't actually like
Step
performing.
one.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't like memorizing my lines.
yeah. I'm not, that ain't it for me.
And yet you're a writer. You love making the lines.
Yeah, I'll give you really hard words to say. Like, I just found out that wasn't for me. I continued to do cinema courses. I did a handful of a little bit of everything. The first thing that clicked to me in community college was editing, which is interesting. I didn't think. I was like, oh, in post-production, really? But I just understood. And it's interesting too. I think I sat in a classroom where you had to learn about editing and splicing things together and like what actually worked together and what didn't. And you could just see like the people who understood how to put pieces together and make a puzzle out of this, like make a picture out of the puzzle, and the people who really didn't. And I was like, oh, I'm for sure on the side of the ones that like understand, I don't know, how to splice things together to make it a cohesive story. I kind of just kept going. In community college, I was actually there for a hot minute, financial reasons and everything. And while I was there, like kind of, waiting out my time, I started doing more and more English courses as well, because I was like, oh, I like this. This is also storytelling. This is like a cool medium. I love like the written word. And so I just kept studying that, again, to keep me in school, keep me busy. And, I was taking so many cinema courses, and I had my GE. Everything was cool.
To me, when you said that you had, English literature as well, I'm like, oh, that totally tracks. That totally fits.
It's so funny because I was like, I actually really held off calling myself a writer for a very long time. Even when I went up to San Francisco State, again, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll edit. Makes sense. But I had some professors, I was like, well, maybe I should try like directing. I wonder what that would be like. And then I was like, nah. But I had like professors who were like, well, why would you not do that? Let's do it. They kind of like didn't let me shy away from it, which was really cool.
And that was your time to branch out and do a bunch of different things and see what worked. And so that's perfect. Yeah.
And the thing is like in film school, at least the film school that I went to, like everyone wants to direct and everyone wants to write, and everyone, not even necessarily write, but everyone wants to direct, right? Sure. Like everyone wants that, like the control. Yeah. And their time in the sunshine or whatever, there's time in the light. Cause there is a certain amount of, especially like if you think about writer directors or directors for films and stuff, there's definitely like a prestige or like a vision or whatever. So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, let me direct. I'll try it. And I was like, a lot of times in film school, I mean, you had to write your content to be able to direct.
You needed something to direct. Yeah. So if you can't find it, you got to make it up.
Yeah. So I would write some stuff. I mean, I wasn't necessarily great at it, but I was trying, whatever. And I obviously understood storytelling in some aspect with the English literature side of things. Yeah, I just kept studying. And even whenever I graduated from, it was during the pandemic, I graduated in spring 2020. May 2020, baby.
In the thick of it.
In the thick of it, when things were like still shut down, or just shutting down, really. I was like, okay, well, I need stuff to direct. I know that. I know no matter what, we've always been told, like, okay, so even when you're working on this one project, the minute you finish it, people are going to be like, okay, what are you doing next? So you always have to have that thing behind you. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not working on anything right now in terms of directing. So let me at least get a handful of things behind me, and I'll just write as much as I can. So at least I'll have like kind of a backlog of things that I'm like, okay, well, this one's done. Now I'll do this next thing. So I did that. I wrote Chapters, which is the short film that we met on.
And won Best Producing, by the way.
And Directing as well.
Best Directing!
Yeah, we won both on that festival. I wrote that. I also then wrote a pilot because I was like, well, let's just keep going. Let's just keep writing. Because
and what did that pilot win?
Oh, that one Best in its category with the 1 hour pilot, unproduced pilot at Rain Dance.
Rain Dance, like Sundance, but for rain.
Like for the English, because it's
it's in London.
There. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, wait a minute. After that, I was like, oh, okay, wait, do I have a thing? Like, am I a writer? That's literally whenever I was like, oh, I think I'm a writer, was when I got an award, which is probably not a good way to predict it. But
I feel like that way, I've gotten that feedback from a lot of writers. Like, because it's like, okay, I can put fingers to a keyboard or I can put pen to paper, but what qualifies me as a writer? Because actors have the same thing. Like, what qualifies me for an actor? And I've just gotten the feedback like, fuck it. It doesn't matter like what you've won or what you've done. If you are actively pursuing that, you are that.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think it was just one of those things of like, and it's just so funny because everyone, when I was like studying film and English lit, everyone was like, oh, so you want to write screenplays? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? I just like both these things. Like I just had enough credits.
Everyone else saw it, but you were like, no.
Literally. Everyone else saw it. And I was like, no. Just trying to direct over here. I also think that part of it is like another advice I got was like, try to hone in what direction you want to go into the industry. Because if you're like, I want to write, direct, edit, act, everyone's like, okay, when they have an opportunity that like arises, it's like, okay, they want to do everything. Do they want to do anything? You know what I mean?
Or
it's
are
like
they good at any of those things? Or are they just, their net is cast too wide?
Right.
Not saying you can't do it all, but if you want to be top of mind for someone, you want to be an expert in that field.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think, like, I understand that. I kind of was like pushed back on it. I was like, ugh, ick, that feels icky. Because it's like, how are you marketable? And I'm like, ew, I'm a person. Leave me alone. But I do understand it's just literally a matter of like top of mind. Like, okay, what can I think of you as? Or like when a job comes around, can I bring you on because you want to do this or because you're good at this? Or
not that you're trying everything out, which is fine. And there's a time and a place for it. But when people are, relying on you or putting their money where their mouth is, or they want to go with someone who is already established in their field, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why and how is.
So why did you, controversial question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one you like more? Or they just go
writing
hand in hand?
Or directing? I like them both for different reasons.
Good answer.
No, but I think that directing is so on set and working with the actors and working with your DP and seeing like the vision of the script or the vision you have in mind, like being made into something better than you even thought of, like because everyone else's talents are like put on there. Also like writing, I like the headspace, like you kind of get into like this like zone with it. But I also think, and I think that's why like the validation of an award was like what kind of threw me in is like, oh, okay, people like this is good. Because there's no way, like when people read it by themselves, it's nice because like screenplays, at least like they're meant to be performed or whatever. They're meant to be put and visually seen and like shown somewhere else. But
someone saw the merit of your script. It jumped out at them from the page instead of just being something flat, even though it's not created yet.
Yeah.
It's your work, your text was able to speak for itself.
Right. Exactly. And I think too, like it's one of those, you just don't know, people can read it and be like, this is good. And then just like go on with it. But you don't like see, like, it's like, when you're watching a film and like, if you're in a room with other people and you hear someone laugh, it's like, yes. The same thing with like, if they're supposed to laugh, I guess I should more. Like,
you immediately walk into frame and they start laughing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yikes.
Interesting feedback.
Yeah. But like, when we did like our chapters premiere and like everyone was around and like people like, what there's just something about that that performance being like shared with people, and you don't know until until you actually are.
Well, and you and I are similar in the fact that we're like perfectionists, and like if the question of like, is it this script ever done? Is this performance really as good as I thought it was, or is this good at all? And then I'm not gonna lie, it's good to have feedback. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, what's so interesting, it's funny with chapters, like this is like our big one that I've like.
It should be a drinking game. Every time we say chapters, you take a drink of water.
Yeah, because we need to stay hydrated.
You'll be thoroughly hydrated by this whole season 1.
But it's funny because watching it, I'm like, there's so many mistakes, but then I'm like, oh, but I'm so proud of like what we did at that moment in time. Yeah, and it's something tangible versus like it's like a performance versus like just writing on a page, being it so like individual.
Mm-hmm. How do you decide what to write? That first, I know you set out time to write every day, and that's great, and you block out that time. Do you use prompts? Do you pick up? And at what point do you go back to something because I know you're working on a couple of things right now. So at what point do you go back to those things, and then maybe you need a break, and then do you just start up something completely new?
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about inspiration first.
Yeah.
Like where that starts. Interestingly enough.
It is me. I am the inspiration.
It is the muse.
It is. I am the muse.
No, but it is, I find it, if you're looking for inspiration, you'll find it.
That's what I find. The universe will provide.
Yeah. Thinking about my thesis film, I was like, I need to write something for a thesis film because I was like, I knew I was going to be in this thesis class and I just had to bring out an idea. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Like thinking, and I was walking down a hall one day and I was like, oh, what if this was like a runway? And so I ended up like, yeah.
I think a lot of us have that feeling.
Right. But I was like, okay, and then what is that? Okay, if that's like an idea, like, okay, it's a hall, no, it's a runway. Well, what would that be? And I'm like, oh, maybe this girl's like delusional and like kind of like thinks about her life in like these ways. And then she ends up like kind of like not schizophrenic, I guess, but kind of like something like, I don't know, like dreams of herself in different ways. And so what I did is I ended up being like having like kind of like a Don Quixote like remake for modern day, and it was called Reality Check, but it was like involving like social media. It was like really poorly done because it was like my first one ever. I still like the idea. I think it's like fucking awesome, but it was it just wasn't like, it was a student film. So but it's like
to knock student films, but it's a learning experience.
It is a learning experience. I still think like I said, I still think it's really a cool idea and I want more from it, but like it was like such a big idea for having to do it. And, like,
yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
So basically you're a daydreamer.
Yeah.
And you run with those daydreams.
That was my first, I was like, okay, I just need this. And then for chapters, I was getting together with some girls from school, like virtually. And we were just like trying to check in with each other like every 2 weeks. We were trying to write. So we were like, okay, what do I find? Let me find something to write. And I was like literally like looking back at like, I was just looking through my notebook of different like quotes that I had, different like lines that I thought were like interesting or like just, things that I like had written down quickly. It was like basically my little idea journal.
Mm-hmm. And
then I was like, okay, stuck in this pandemic. I can't go anywhere and do anything. So let me think about like, okay,
what can I film in one location?
I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't even thinking about filming it. I was thinking about, I don't know, like how can I process like life and like write about life whenever I'm stuck in this one spot. And so then chapters came out of that. And it was literally just like, about this girl who's kind of like struggling with writing and like thinking about her. I was very meta. I was like, oh wait, okay, so this was like basically me. But yeah, thinking about past traumas and the good times and the bad times and all of that. And then, whatever. And then came chapters. But yeah, that's basically what that was. It was kind of like a magical realism, whatever. And it was just, again, like me just going through the process. And then did that. Still the next couple weeks I had to come back with more. And I was doing like, at that point I was using like Pinterest prompts. It was like Pinterest prompts. It was like 31 days for Halloween or horror film, whatever. And I was just like,
cool.
Yeah. And so I was just writing every day, like, from like a prompt that was like, whatever. Like some of it was like, you're in a town that's of Halloween and like this scary thing happens. I was like, okay. So I'm like, I'm just writing it, whatever. And then one time this one stuck where it just said your parents' estate. That was the prompt. And then popped out like the character of Katie, who's like this like elite, socialite or whatever. And then came River and Crows, which I did this whole pilot from. And and of course that was also
from a Halloween prompt on Pinterest.
Yeah, which by the way,
a Rain Dance award-winning script.
Yeah, and it's not horror or anything like that.
No, but it just gets like the juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just this character that literally popped out that was like this kind of like bitchy, like just like entitled, like, fuck you, yeah, I killed my parents, and like
and
yeah, like that's kind of like her personality or whatever. So and then I was out doing a film in the middle of Bombay Beach, and I was like, this is crazy. Like I was a PA on it, and I was like, it was fucking in the middle of summer, it was so hot. I went back to a Starbucks like on the weekend because we were all like stationed out there, like, booked out there for 2 weeks. I went to a Starbucks, which was like 2 hours away because we were like, that's like,
you're like, I need the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I need
that's
AC.
Literally what it was.
And a coffee.
And I had just finished the edit on chapters with like, Charles's like little like poetic, like that little montage-y thing that we have. And I was like thinking about the desert. And then that's which we have, do you remember, it's going to come out at some point. But that's like the project that I'm working on now was like that. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And so
I know you kept saying Bombay Beach when you were talking about the mood board for this, and you're like, Bombay Beach, Bombay Beach, Bombay Beach.
Yeah, I've heard of Bombay Beach.
Have you heard of it?
But yeah, so it's basically by the Salton Sea. It's like this awful town that's like dried up and like washed up and like this little like desert. It's so crazy.
Like Joshua Tree, but for filmmakers. But for
it's like a deserted town. Like apparently
cool.
Bombay Beach like used to be thriving, and then like it's kind of crazy. And then the Salton Sea like turned rancid because you don't know about this.
I don't know about any of this.
So like I think it was like, I feel like that kid.
Is this California history?
Yeah. Like it used to be like, cause it's a man-made lake, I think. And they had like, I don't know, it was like this hop-in spot. Like my parents were like, yeah, it used to be like a place where you would go. And there's actually like this billboard there that's still there, like this like, you know, white lady on a jet ski, like being like, woohoo, like very California, 50s
and there's
California
no water
vibes.
there now.
No, there's water there.
Oh, there is?
But it reeks because there's so many dead fish in there. Because there was a runoff from like farmlands that had a bunch of pesticides and it just like killed the entire sea. So now you like can't go in it. If you step in it barefoot, like you get fish bones in your feet. Like it's it's disgusting. So it smells really bad. But anyway, so this town, because of that,
no one decided to clean it.
I mean, it's there, and there's like art exhibits. Like they have a lot of stuff from like fire. What is it called? The Fire Festival or whatever.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one like desert festival.
Yeah,
clearly we're really
with the sculptures.
Yeah, exactly. So they have a lot of stuff like that.
We're millennials.
But yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Anyways, so that's like just being in that atmosphere, then finishing the edit. Do you remember came up and like my own life processes, but that's basically inspiration is like you're looking for inspiration. So then you find it, be it via like prompts, walking down a hallway, you know, back at old journals, but you just have these tools that you just like go back and go through and pick up. And
if you, I mean, I think it's good to know too, because if you feel confined to your space, like let's say like, I can't spend a lot of money right now, so I'm staying inside. I'm just in my room. I don't have cable. Like, where am I going to find inspiration? Oh, well, I have these twinkle lights hanging up in my room. What if, I don't know, like, like just basically going wherever your mind takes you.
And like people have said like, oh yeah, like I'll watch a movie and like I see a side character and I'd be like, that's an interesting story. Like, what if I told, you know, a story from that person's perspective, you know? And so they'll use that like, or a character
from a book you're reading or a magazine or
totally
Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, like make a whole world out of your wardrobe.
Yeah. Yeah. You find inspiration like when you need it, basically, is what it is. But you have to keep your eyes open. And like I said, like with chapters, I had an idea book that I had just written down things or like processing things or whatever. And so I just like, I had that. And then what came of reading back different things and different, I don't know, sentences that I thought of like while I was like,
that was going to be, that was going to be my next question for people who are, you know, trying to find more structure in their process. Do you keep journals? Do you keep, you know, just the notes app on your iPhone? Like, what do you write down? Like if there's a line that strikes you, do you just write it down? And then, because a lot of times I use my notes on my phone and I like never go back to it. So do you have a system?
Yes and no. I have my notes app because sometimes it's just the easiest. A lot of times I actually think of a lot of things while I'm driving, which is not a good thing. But I think that's like whenever I can like, I'm silent, like I'm just like sitting there, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like pull over and like write something down real quick or whatever. So you can do like, you know, your voice notes, you can do your iPhone notes, like, your notes app. That is what it's called, notes app. I was also always taught like have just like a small teeny tiny notebook, like the size of your hand, like a teeny tiny one, and a pen always around. And then you can just write stuff. I like that the best, like having something like that. Like I like paper, I like something tangible because then you can kind of like use it like later. You can go back to it. You can actually like physically flip through things, and versus like digital space is so confined. It's just like, sometimes it's hard to process that, I think. But you just have to find what works for you. But I kind of dabble in all of it. And then once again, when I'm like looking for inspiration or whatever, then that's whenever I like go through it. Or like I'm working on a feature that I'm like, okay, I'm like still writing it. I'm still going through it. And I'm like, oh, this would be a cool thing. And I'll put it in my notes app, but I'll make sure to title like, do you remember? And then I'll put my idea. So that way I can like see like, oh, that's,
you can like, categorize it. Like, oh, these are just a couple lines. Or this is for a scene. Or...
Yeah, exactly.
So basically try all the things. Try it digitally, try a little notepad and see what works for you. Yeah, I think all of that stresses me out because, just a side note. Well, because I'm someone that, I don't know. I kept a journal when I was younger and I want to keep a journal, but at the same time, I want things to be organized.
I have my own personal journal as well that I like just work through shit in.
Yeah.
Because that's just my own like
therapeutic
also,
thing. Again, it just keeps you writing.
Yeah, exactly. And I just talk about my day. But then if I like ever, I think also what's interesting is back in the day when I didn't have a therapist and I actually was like not very good about talking about like my emotions, I held like a lot of stuff in. When I would have like panic attacks or like when I would have like really like where I just like needed to get it out. That's the only thing that got me through it. I would write like 6 pages at a time and I would go through it. And I'm like, I actually have never like looked back on those journals because I'm like, I know that those are like
a dark time.
Yeah, exactly. But that was like the only way I could get things out. However, and sometimes I still have those times. A lot of times, like today, I was like, I'm so thankful for like very
Monique.
cheesy. Yeah,
she's coming over. We got waffles.
Yeah,
it's been a great day.
No, but I mean, a lot of like right now, it's very cheesy type stuff, whatever. But sometimes I'll just be like, life is crazy, and I'll like work through something. And if I feel like it's like that actually could turn into something, I may want to revisit this just because it's like an interesting idea. I'll tab it. And just like
that's what I was gonna tab or highlight or
I don't even necessarily highlight it because if
I would.
Well, I don't highlight it. I just tab it because if it's important, then I can like see on this notebook, like with it just being closed, that there is stuff that I could revisit and like possibly make something out of it.
Love it.
Yeah, because if it's highlight, then you are flipping through the pages. I don't necessarily, like I said, like a lot of times there's some dark times in the past, so like I don't necessarily
want to look through all of this again.
Yeah.
Switching gears to directing, how do you break down a script? This is like so. I mean, this is just such a big question. I'm just asking you such broad questions, but this is important. Like this is, I mean, and everyone has a different process, and I feel like the more that, at least for me, the more that you get input from other people, you could take this from this person and this from that person and form your own process that really, works for you. So
yes. So I've actually never directed something that I've not written in some capacity, like from script, like right now I'm directing,
know it inside and out. You're directing it, but you know it inside and out because you wrote it.
Yeah. And I think I write like a director. I think that's part of it as well.
What do you mean?
I feel like a lot of like writers, I mean, go ahead and, definitely read your own stuff. But I feel like sometimes with writers, you write your action and you write your sound, and those are the things that you write. And sometimes I'll write maybe you'll do a little bit of writing of like character action or something, like if it's like something to push the story forward. But typically you'll leave like certain actors' movements for on the day, just so that way it's like the director has like something to block and you're not having to follow script for script,
right,
or word for word.
They have some creative freedom instead of like her right hand moves to the glass and then picks it up at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, but I think I write a little bit more directory because I'm thinking about that and
what it looks like as you're writing it.
Yeah, and specifically actions, because I think that actions with characters, and it depends. I mean, with Rivers and Crows, which is actually the first time that I wrote something without thinking of directing it in mind, I wasn't as like strict with that. But I think that the body language of actors, and obviously is part of telling the story. It's interesting too, though. You have to kind of have a different like mindset as well, like when you're writing and versus directing, because when you're directing, you then like have to find solutions for things that are on the page that can't happen. Meaning like chapters to get that drink out.
Yeah, make sure your water's handy.
Yeah, no, but there was a moment, I think I said like, I think I was like, I wrote like, oh, and then so-and-so disappears like dust or something, like fades into dust into the air. Well, came time to film that. And then I realized like through talking to some people, they were like, yeah, if you turn a person into like particles of dust, like basically do like an end game shit, like that's like millions of dollars for like post-production, like
no, we're
animation.
He's gonna run out of the scene and I'm gonna throw sand in the air.
Yeah. No. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, how do I do this? I'm like, okay, we'll just do like a cross fade out. Like we'll just hit a plate up and do a cross fade. It was perfect
the way that you did it. It was,
yeah.
And in the moment it felt great, and seeing it back, it felt great. It really felt like he was, oh yeah, like a figment of my imagination. I feel like it was better because it was like, it felt more memory-esque 100%
or whatever versus like, okay, what's happening here? But there's different, you have to come up with different solutions like that, like creatively and like because of how you're going to film it. And then also like, okay, so yeah, we have her like sitting. It's written that she's sitting at this counter, but we actually don't have a counter that's like with something that she can sit at because it's like with our location. So maybe we can get her like a table to sit at, or maybe she's just standing, or you know what I mean? Like whatever, you know, like, yeah, you have to work with like the location and the camera, like what's going to look best, and then the actors. But breaking down a script, you're really going to look at a couple different things, like in terms of, are you going to need background actors for atmosphere? Is it like, where is this place taking place? You want to go through and look at like the emotional parts of a scene, why characters are doing certain things. What's the point of the scene? Like, why are we even meeting at a coffee shop? What's going on?
But yeah, why can't we meet anywhere else? Why does it have to be this location?
And that's the thing, is like sometimes it really is just at a coffee shop. Like,
yeah,
that's fine. But is there a
cup
better
of coffee?
Yeah, but is there a better place or whatever? You know, like,
is there a place that tells the story more? Is there a character that could be at that place that could?
Yeah. And what type of coffee shop? Is it a Starbucks? Is it a small? Yeah.
Or is it another coffee shop, a mom and pop owned coffee shop?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Is it run down? Is it brand spanking new? Yeah. You're going to think about all those types of like settings and everything.
Is it a diner?
Yeah. Maybe. Or a cafe or whatever.
We're just giving you writing prompts now. See, this is what we're doing.
Well, even directing prompts, like, you know, it may say like in the script, a coffee shop, and it's like, okay, but what kind of coffee shop? Like, where are they? Like, is this a New York City coffee shop, or is this like, you know, an Alaskan coffee shop? I don't know if there's a difference, but maybe there is. Like, you know, I don't know, like a small time Alaskan, and like, why do we need, you know?
Yeah, there's a very big difference between an LA brewery and a Colorado brewery.
Yeah.
Like there is like a difference in even though if the stage directions just say interior bedroom day, like what kind of bedroom? What is their theme? Is there a theme? Is it organized, not organized?
Well, and I think as a director, you're no longer just thinking about like, you're thinking about what's on the page, but then you get to decide, depending, which we'll actually get into this a little bit, but you get to decide the look in terms of with your DP, like how you're going to film it, meaning maybe this is a black and white film, but why is it a black and white film? You know, that's not going to be in the script per se. And then
it's something creatively that's worked out ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to talk with your DP about it, because that will make it light different. Because like even in our reels that we did with Hannah's, we
did a weekend of a bunch of different reel scenes. We did about 6 different reel scenes, and we did us and our friends.
Yeah,
and we did one that was black and white, and it was for a very specific reason. It was supposed to be like noir, like different vibe.
Well, and by the way, I guess I should say that because I directed all those, and some of those were not my scripts.
I was gonna say that we've done multiple scenes that you've directed.
Okay, you're right.
that weren't written by you.
Yeah, I just like, I guess I always am like, I mean, they were scenes, right, versus like full on. I mean, they were kind of more like short films, I guess.
Yeah. They were like 3 to 5 minutes scenes.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like a noir-esque. So you light that differently. So it was funny while we were like lighting it, and we were like, this is like kind of shit, like looking. But then whenever we saw it with the LUT on in like the monitor, it was like, oh, that looks sick, because you have like high, I think it's called high key. I should be looking this up.
Low key. It's called high key.
Yeah. But I mean, it's very stark lighting. Where if, you know, normally it would be a different color. And then same with like costuming, we had to be like, okay, so Hannah is wearing this like deep pink dress. She was like, should I wear this deep pink dress or this like lighter colored, cream colored dress or whatever? I was like, no, do the deep pink, because
it's black and white.
It's black and white. It's going to have like a different contrast from like her skin tone versus the other one's just going to be, it would like not.
It would look like her skin tone.
So you have to think about all those, like, that's like when you look into costuming and like all of that, like your hair and makeup, like, okay, you know, should Hannah be wearing sunglasses because she's hungover in that scene? The answer was yes. Like it added like more to her character or whatever.
Oh, totally. That character was fully fleshed out.
Yeah, it was super fun. But yeah, so you're just thinking about all the different things. You're thinking about like what you can see, and then also what you can hear, but that sometimes comes more into post-production and everything. But you have to still think of it ahead of time, because if you're getting like B-roll of something, which is just getting like just the picture, not necessarily
not the action necessarily.
The sound. Well, no, I mean action, like it can be, you know, B-roll of someone pouring glass into something, or or yeah.
Right, but not like the words in the scene and that.
Right,
kind of stuff.
right. You have to know while you're in production, like, oh, well, maybe I will want the sound for this, so maybe we should get sound for this B-roll. Versus like
and no sound on someone pouring a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, and that can work. Like maybe that there's supposed to be music over it, and it's not that big of a deal, and like a voiceover or whatever. Then whatever, that's
it's always good to have the sound just in case you can make the different, that choice later.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you have all the budget in the world, I'm sure you can Foley it, but it's just like that much more of an expense when you could have just grabbed it on the day.
Facts.
But yeah, so you're kind of planning ahead of time. You're making sure all your bases are covered with all the different departments. And I think that's why I loved directing, is because you are in cahoots with all the different departments.
In cahoots
with all the different departments.
Yeah, I fully think that directing, and same with DPing. I mean, I think that's about actors too, but I don't know. I feel even more so with directing and being a cinematographer that it is a calling, because I do believe you have to have an eye for this stuff. You could teach people things, but I know a lot about the acting side of things and the performing side of things, and I can see it because I took directing for theater, so I could see it more so with staging theater productions. But in terms of framing a shot, or even, seeing a picture when I read a script, I don't see the picture. Yeah. I see the actors, or I, feel the emotions, but I don't see the image at all. And you and Carlos talk about that all the time. Our friend Carlos, who's a cinematographer and director
he has his own episode. Check it out.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I read it, and then I'm automatically thinking about the shot list, and I'm thinking about how it's going to look, and I'm like, how do you see this magic in your brain?
It's so funny. I was listening to something the other day, and they were like, yeah, there's like, you can see, like, they were like, sometimes people like actually like envision, like, I guess there's people who read stuff and like can't envision things in their mind like that. Like they don't.
I can see it when I read a book, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think a script to me is so open-ended and can go so many different ways, and when I'm doing a script breakdown,
well, that's because you have to kind of create it. That's the point of the creating, is like, okay, so let's talk about like colors here. What are the colors? Because different colors evoke different things, right? And then also on top of that, like, you do have to think about, right, so there's the actor's performance. Like, let's say someone's being broken up with, right? Like, Monique's getting broken up with, the poor thing.
Poor thing.
But you want to, like, be like, okay, so how are we going to shoot this so that way we feel for Monique? I mean, obviously, she's going to go ahead and act her little ass off with, like, being a sympathetic character. But if we want to feel for Monique, we're going to want to try and like maybe make her look a little bit small, like as if this is happening to her and like she's just like really sad. And so the way you're going to film it is maybe just a little bit where she's just like below the other character or whatever. Just so she looks a little bit small. She's kind of like looking up and like looks like, quote unquote, the weaker of the two. Or maybe this person's breaking up with her, but she's kind of manipulative. Well, if you film her or we're looking up at you, then you kind of are like, you don't feel for her as bad because this other person is like getting, rid of this, like, I'm breaking up with you, it's my empowered moment or whatever, or not necessarily empowered moment, but maybe they're tentative about it or
based
something.
on how you feel it just visually, you can automatically make the audience feel things.
Yeah.
Before even getting to the scene.
And if you really want to get, like, it's like, how personal do you want to get it? Like, is this kind of just an everyday occurrence? Well, maybe what you're doing, and maybe do you want to show that like the rest of the world is just kind of going on with their lives? Like maybe you are actually filming this from outside the cafe and we just hear what's going on, and you're through a window or whatever. Or do you want to be really close up and emotional, like with like their eyes, like where you kind of see like the tears like starting to form, and how do you want to portray this scene?
This is a very interesting exercise, and I've been doing it as an actor, is watching when a show goes from a wide establishing shot to a medium shot to a close-up to a real or over the shoulder to a real close up. Because this I do see as an actor reading the script. I need to be able to know where the close-up moments are, because in my self-tapes and in my auditions, absolutely, bare minimum, those are the moments that I have to nail. And so as I'm reading through a script, I can see like, oh, this is my close-up moment. It's right here. And so I think that's, interesting homework for anyone to go through and see, oh, why did the editor, and director probably choose to shoot it this way, and then we go to here, and then we go back out to here, and then we go into the close-up, that is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like, also, I will say, the reason I wanted to talk about like starting with, I thought I was going to go into the edit because I just understood it a little bit more. Whenever I direct, I'm thinking about the edit. You always have to think about the edit, because
that's what people are going to see.
That's what people are going to see. But also, like, if things don't cut well together, which sometimes it can be, if the reason, it's really interesting. I used to go to like these conferences from all the editors, like, that got nominated for Oscars that year. They would hold it like the day or two before.
Cool.
I think it was through their union, but as like a student, and we got like free access to it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's super cool.
But I think it was called like Invisible Art, Visible Artist.
Invisible Art, Visible Artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're watching the edit, or when you're watching a film, a lot of times I used to tell my parents, I was like, oh yeah, this is a cut. This is a cut. When you cut to different, like, a wide, a medium, a close-up, I'm like, that's a cut. Someone made the choice to show that at that point in time. They're like, oh, I didn't even notice it. And it's like, that's the point. The edit is supposed to help you. Or, I mean, sometimes there's like an edit, like an editorial choice. Like, if you ever watch like The Big Short, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That film. Like, it's fucking wild with its edit. And there's so many pictures. It's insane.
But it's
that's
intentional.
Yeah, that's the point, is to see all the different things happening, right? Is like, and to see the art like combining together. But yeah, you're not supposed to see the edit. Like, it should just flow, and you should just be able to, like, forget that you're watching a film in a bunch of different frames cut together.
Yeah.
You have to think about if something doesn't cut well together, meaning it goes from like a wide to an extreme close-up, and that feels, or if you cross the 180 line, which is, we'll look it up, the 180 line in film, like crossing the 180 line, it like basically screws it up. It makes it
join
like,
our Patreon group and you'll get all our glossary terms.
Yeah. It'll screw up like the edit, like essentially, like you will see that there's a cut. You will see something's off. The room doesn't look quite right anymore.
Where the eye line, where
exactly.
the eye lines are,
the eye lines,
where the actors are looking, if they're looking off to the left, and then I can't explain it like
that,
but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's hard not to,
if they're looking to the left, but the person in the wide is over to their right. Like, it's like, who are they talking to?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to think about all that. That's something that you, on the day, you have to think about. I don't know what the original question was in terms of directing.
No, the original question was, which you answered, like, well, it was more of like a comment that I think this is a calling because you visually have to be able to see things. But then you also started getting into the technique of like, okay, well, this is how you can see things. And there's definitely training for it. 100%.
Yeah.
It's it's a different mindset than what I have.
I think too, what's interesting is I did not originally think of myself as director. Like, I'm still learning. And as a director, you may not have to be quote unquote an expert in everything. Like, I'm not going to be able to go in and act it myself. I'm not going to be able to go in and like personally DP it myself personally, but I have to be able to speak everyone's language to be able to communicate what I need.
And that is
or what I envision it to be.
That's one of, I love working with you. Like I said, you are a actor's director because from the beginning, like initially meeting you, that was always a goal of yours, is I need to be able to talk to actors because then that helps me do my job well. I mean, to me, you've already been able to talk to DPs and cinematographers and actors, but I mean, like, that's always been something of yours that, you are someone who is constantly learning and growing and taking in new information and learning how to disseminate that information to all of the different departments.
Yeah.
And
it's really funny. Okay, back to my cheer days. I used to be a flyer, and then I grew to be a tall person. And so I stopped flying. I was like they would always put me as like the back spot. Those of you who don't know, they would always put me as like the back spot, but I was like, I want to be bass, because a lot of times, like, if you got really good, you could just have like two bases. Like,
you don't need a back person.
And you don't necessarily need a back spot. So I was like, no, I want to be of more value. And so I want a bass. And so it's interesting though, because I've literally done all those spots, and my mom would always be like, no, that's like, and I would be like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. And she was like, well, no, it's good that it's actually very good that you did that, because you know what each person on that team needs and like how to be helpful. And I was like, you're right. Like, what
Mom,
the
you're
heck?
right. Just in life.
Moms are always right.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, actually, yeah, you're right. That's like a strength of mine is like, I know what it feels like to be a flyer and like where the support needs to be and how to be a good base because of that. And I know how to, be a good back spot and where the bases need me and the flyer needs and so it's one of those things again where it's like, okay. And I mean, it's any team sport, right? Like even working at a restaurant job. I was a server, I was a bartender, There's
a reason why you have to move up from a host to a busser to a server.
Yeah.
Because you need to understand the process. Yep. That as a host, you can't sit people 5 tables at once, like, or whatever it is.
And with being a PA now as well, I'm like able to know, like I understand like the AD department as well and like the planning of everything. And so now I understand. And as a producer, we understand like, because the good thing is like being like all the different things, being the writer, the director, an editor, AD, a PA, a producer, like we know like so many different things of like what production will need.
It's such a cringy thing to say, like paying your dues.
Yeah.
But instead of thinking about it that way, think about it as from every perspective and from every level, learning as much as you can. So when you're at the level that you want to be at, you have a full knowledge and understanding of this world.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it just makes stronger filmmakers.
And more sympathetic that you know what your your crew person's going through.
Yeah.
Like, you know what an 8-hour day feels for a gaffer and what it feels like for a PA. You know what I mean? Like, these people rigging things and setting things up and taking them down, like that is physical labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Totally. Yes.
Yes.
Completely. I also want to talk about what's interesting is right now I'm directing quote unquote small time stuff, right? Like it's very much short films. Like that's kind of the
and capacity. We have a feature, but it's an independently funded feature.
Yeah. And it's currently unproduced. Like we're still working on it,
it's in pre-production.
Yes. But technically in development, but yes.
In development. / pre-production.
But I will say, like, with being a PA, I've been a PA on a feature film. I've been a PA on multiple television series and then some commercials as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, the difference of the role of a director on each of those different projects.
Yeah, I would say the role of a director for a commercial, the role of a guest director on a series, and the role of a director on a feature film, entirely different. Entirely.
Yes. There's
in terms of creative control, right?
Yes. I mean, you're still like quote unquote, the vision, right? It's still your quote unquote vision. However, if you're doing it for a commercial, you are working very closely with quote unquote the client whatever, like if Home Depot's they're going to have their look or if like Disney's doing a commercial or if Lowe's, Home Depot and Lowe's, we got to sponsor all of us, please. All of you guys sponsor us, please. But they're going to have their own certain look and their own like if, you're on a Lowe's commercial and you are like, everything needs to be orange. Maybe not a good thing because
everything needs to be blue.
Home Depot is orange.
Well, and even just being an actor, the last commercial that I did, we did the wide and they would send them, immediately the scenes and it was fine. And then we got to my close up and my direction got very specific. And because he was on the phone with a client who was watching it in real time.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to give you this note. Okay, great. Then he'd go on the phone with the client. Okay, what about this note? We'd do it. Then he'd be on the phone with the client. Okay. All right. How about this note? And it was draining.
Yeah.
And it was the difference. And the differences were so small. And so, I mean, as an actor, you have to redirect and take what they're giving you. He was a fabulous director because he took the note of the client, changed it into actor speak and gave me a scenario or gave me an emotion or gave me a feeling and said, okay, well, what if you were looking over here and then this happened? And then I'd act it and just changing on the spot. But
which I bet you anything on the client was probably like, she's like too sad. Can we make her like not as sad? And then he would have to be like, okay, so
Or-
I know your puppy just died, but like you didn't know the puppy that well. You know what I mean? Like just change it a little bit in that direction or something.
You're not
you know?
Sarah McLachlan doing
You don't
commercial.
go up to an actor and say, be less sad. Like that's not what you do. And that's another thing with directing like that I was learned. And it was actually like a really good example is if someone's like, okay, yeah, she's quirky. It's like, okay, how do I interpret quirky? Because that could mean that could be like new girl quirky. That could be like she stands on her head every time she has to get out of bed, or like, you know what I mean, or like whatever, you know what I mean, or it could be just like she just has like a little like zane, like just like has a little twitch or something. I don't know, like it could be, I don't know, like it can be so many different things. Like you have to be tangible with that. Like you can't just be like, be more happy. What do you mean? Like I just got proposed happy? Or I'm like got a new job. Or I just
found a quarter on the floor. Or a penny on the floor.
Yeah, those are kind of different.
So different.
Happies. Yeah.
So yeah, but he was taking notes. I mean, the client let us run with it how we wanted to. Mm-hmm. And then he was we got like 20 different notes from the client to do it multiple different ways. So he was getting his direct incentives his directives from the client and having to spin it.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more supervised. And then as a director on a TV show as well, I mean, certain TV shows do different things now. And as well as like, especially I think with streaming and like, I've heard British television also like they typically keep the same director on for the whole series. I mean, depending. But a lot of like series that are like 21 episodes or something,
they bring in a lot of guests.
You're bringing a director and a new director each week. The crew stays the same, but the director comes in each week. The writers actually have a lot more weight because they're the consistent each week. They're the ones that are like, okay, like we know the story the best. We know the projection of the story that needs to happen. So we want to make sure like anytime there's like a change in the script or a change in the line delivery or something, we want to make sure that it's not going to fuck up like what's to come in the next season. Yeah, exactly. Or like, even thinking about like, oh, maybe there's like a will they, won't they, I mean, if the director's like downplaying it as like, oh no, they won't they.
They won't they.
They won't they. But they really need that to be a will they sort of situation at that point. Like, because that's like, they're that's the point to like play. Then
does the directors get a briefing other than just the script? Do they get a briefing from the writer's room about things like that, scenarios like that? So
I know that they have a couple different meetings. I know I've heard, at least on the ones that I've been on, that do change directors, they have like a tone meeting, all about going through the script and looking at the tone and the beat points of like what they want. And then they have a writer on set as well. And with comedy as well, they'll have a lot of like alts, like alternate lines.
So if this doesn't work, then we have these 3 that are already approved by the writer's room that we could throw in.
3 or 10.
10?
Yeah. There'll be a lot of alts. Depending on a lot that I've worked on, where it's like, okay, try it this way. It's like, okay, try it, try this line instead. And they're usually just like the one-liner ones, but there's like a bunch of alts.
Hey, how's it going? Fine. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
All different things, but could have a completely different vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and different punchlines and everything. So yeah, there's like, they're the rulers, are the writers.
The rulers.
Yeah, they're like.
That's why you wanted to be a writer?
Yes. No, and then, but with feature films, and I think that this is where like the prestige comes in with feature films. I mean, with the Oscar. I mean, I think part of it is like the Oscars is like, oh, it's the Oscars. But that's like where you have the directors that they are brought on with a script. I mean, there's always the producers in mind, right? Like if you're going on to a Pixar film and you're the director of the Pixar film, like
you got a lot of people to answer to.
Yeah, exactly. There's still like Pixar is a very big company. Disney is a very big company. You still have to like, but if it's like independent or like A24, I know they tend to have a little bit more leeway with their directors. You actually get to kind of rewrite things a little bit on the day. You have this script that you're working with, and as far as I'm aware, doesn't necessarily have to be a writer there. You can just kind of do what you want and go with it how you want.
How you interpret it based on
Exactly.
your previous meetings with the producers, the writers, and
Mhm.
they kind of trust you to, not to say that in the other realms they don't trust you, but you get a little bit more leeway when you are the director of a feature film.
Well, I think also you have the entire content that should be just on its own.
Mhm.
Again, Marvel, if you're doing Marvel, that's like that's a series.
Whole different beast, because like they could
series.
change one line
Yeah.
and it could be a setup for something 5 years in the making.
Exactly.
Like straight up.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you're doing like, the B movie, not even necessarily B movies, but you know what I mean? Like the movie that's just like
Singular for now,
start
at
to
least.
finish, and
Yes.
that's that. You have like the start to finish, like what it is, the complete story.
Yes.
And so you're able to make decisions based and
not have it fuck up a timeline years
Yeah.
down the line.
and be able to wholly put your vision into it.
Right. It's so funny. Every time I'm watching something Marvel or Mandalorian or anything with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, ooh, that was a really big reveal. He's like, this person is going to come back for blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
Okay.
okay. It seemed
Yeah.
like a normal scene to me. And he's like, no, that was huge. Because he
so
like
funny.
read all the comics and did all,
Yeah.
knows a lot about that world, but it's funny.
Yeah. No, I think the bigger you get, the more people you have over you. And
Mhm.
I'm sure too, like, meaning like the bigger production do you get on, the more people you have over you, like that you have to like, please. Yeah. And adhere
Or run
to.
things by.
Yeah, exactly. But I think also the bigger you get, I'm sure like Steven Spielberg may not have to like really bow down to all the people. I'm sure
Or
that there's a little bit more
his
trust.
choices a little bit less.
Yeah. Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe he does have to like listen
When
to
you're at
everybody.
Steven Spielberg's position, you can let us know.
Yeah, you know what? Steven Spielberg, write us and let us know.
Yeah, just email us at getsetpodcast@gmail.com and we'd love to take your input.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's like the directing world at hand. And as far as writing, the writing world, like professionally, I've heard, which I don't know, I haven't worked so much in the writing aspect, like professionally.
And by that professionally, you just mean for a big production.
Yeah, getting paid for
multi-million-dollar
my work
production.
as a writer. But what I've heard is like with feature films, like you can write something and try to get it sold to a production company, and then they'll take it and then have someone like rewrite it for you. Like, yeah. And then they
Do you
get
still
like
get
two
the writing
different-
credit?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I remember like my professor being like, yeah, it's freaking wild. Like sometimes they'll just like
Rewrite the whole thing?
like they'll take the idea and they'll get like, I think you can get
Created
contracted where it's like you get like 2 tries to rewrite it or something like that. And then if they don't like it, then they'll bring someone else in to like
And to
rewrite it
co-write
again.
with you?
I don't even know what the credit would be like. I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty wild. Or sometimes they'll just buy it off of you and then they get to just like
You have
have
no
the
rights
rights
to it.
Yeah. And
Wow.
then, I mean, I don't know how it is with like creating pilots or anything like that. Like, because Rivers and Crows is still unproduced unless anyone wants to buy it. Please hit me up.
I think
but-
it will. You've gotten such good feedback from people high up in the industry, so.
Yeah, hopefully one day. We'll see. But I know that there's like, you have to have like a Bible with that and everything, which
show
is like
Bible.
a show Bible, which is like,
We'll get into that. We'll go through, maybe next season, we'll go through a show Bible and a pitch deck.
yeah,
What's
definitely.
in a pitch deck?
But essentially, it's basically like what's to come in the further seasons because they want to know like, okay, so
Definitely
you have
season
this,
1
like,
and possibly season 2, maybe even season 3.
yeah. But they basically are like, okay, so cool, you have this, and like you have this like
And
cool
what?
start to a story, but do you have a plan for it? So they want to basically like make sure that they're buying.
They want it to be
something that-
sustaining. They want it to be a success. They want to make money on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then like when you're writing stuff like on a show, it's a bit more collaborative. Like when you're staffed on as a writer, I know that there's like a lot of collaboration and they talk the season through and you kind of go through the showrunner and like that's the person running things. And yeah, that's as far as I know, like with the big guns of writing.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Any advice you want to give to someone just starting out in writing and directing? We can give like a comment to writing, comment to directing.
I mean, I would say for both,
Okay.
you have to do it.
I knew you were going to say that.
know.
This is such a Jessica comment.
It's such a Jessica comment. No, but
Because people say they want to do it. And my advice is, you know what? You got to do it.
Oh my God, do I sound like that?
No,
I'm so sorry.
no. But I remember you said this like last week when we met.
Yeah.
Last week, yeah. But you do, just you take it. This is a Jessica thing.
Well, I said that my thesis project was awful, but I learned so much from it.
And I'm sure it wasn't awful. It's just your threshold has moved. Every time your threshold.
Oh. No, I mean it wasn't terrible, but
once
it was like my
but once you score a touchdown, the goalpost is going to move. Right. You're not going to stay there. And then you get to look back and, see it.
Yeah. I mean, there's still things that I think are really cool and I'm really proud of. And I'm like, yeah, that turned out amazing of each project. But
I wasn't in it. So
yeah, that was
the main problem.
You're right. I'm sorry. That was the problem. But you're just going to start off bad no matter what. And that's what they always say. Like, oh gosh, like, it's same with like, even just writing, like, first drafts. They always say that, right? It's like, if you start, your first draft is going to be awful. Because it is. It's just, you're just getting it out. You're trying to figure things out. And when you write, it's all about like revision, like you don't just like throw down the perfect poem or the perfect short story or script or like feature or whatever. Like it has to be revised. Like, I mean, if nothing else, grammatically, I'm sure there's a few spellings in there.
You revise an email, you got to revise a script.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with directing, it's hard to revise unless you're doing like reshoots, but that's like, and I mean, there's different phases, right? There's like the pre-production, the production, and then post-production. And that's why they're always like, well, we'll fix it in post. It's like, no, that can be very expensive and also sometimes not even doable. There's no way to like, quote unquote, revise it unless you just go in and like redo the whole thing. And no one does that unless you have lots of money and you're Tom Cruise and want to reshoot the entire Top Gun 2, whatever.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. So, I mean, as a director, you don't really get to revise, and so your revision is by doing projects and learning from certain
and getting your
things.
Craft to a good level so that like on the spot, in the moment, you make smart judgment calls.
And you're learning, you're reading the books, you're, I don't know, listening to online classes. By the way, I'm starting a Sundance class.
Did you? I've been wanting to take one. I've been wanting to take their producing class.
Yeah, I'm doing one of their self-paced like writing classes because I don't know when we're going back for the next season, but I think it starts on sometime in April.
Yeah.
So I'll do a little review of it maybe for our Patreons, like what I thought of the class, if it was worth it, because it's expensive. It's like $300.
Oh, the producing one's like $5.
Yeah, because I think that's not in person, but at least like scheduled classes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to keep. I mean, even like the master classes, I don't know if you've heard of the master class. So I took some because it was like free during the pandemic for like CSUs. So I did like that free year of it. And I watched like some directing ones and some writing ones, like all the ones that I like had time for because there's a lot. But I mean, just learning about that. Yeah. There's people on YouTube who talk about writing and directing, like
YouTube University.
Yep. Go to YouTube University, go to masterclass, do Sundance, read all the books, the Save the Cat, there's directing actors.
Oh my gosh, wait, Save the Cat is, I mean, whoever you are, like as an actor, director, writer, I love Save the Cat.
Yeah.
Love it. We're going to link it in the show notes and you can get it on our Amazon list.
Yeah. Also, I will, because I have to shout out my professor, Julian Hochster. He has some books out on screenwriting and I'm like, I loved his class. They were his classes. Yeah, they are. And they were his, I mean, I read it because it's funny, he wrote it whenever I graduated, like it was like published when I graduated. Mm-hmm. So he was like, hey, will you read this? And
you don't have to buy it, but can you read it?
Yeah, exactly. And so I read it and I was like, oh, this was what I paid like $3,000 a semester for. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Like, so even if you're not
I mean, you don't get the one-on-one teacher time, but yeah.
Yeah, even if you're not able to afford, school at the moment, or if that's not your jam, like definitely, I mean, Save the Cat is such an easy read in my opinion, because there's examples in there. There's not a lot of words per page. It's a really short, like 100 or 120 page book. It's, it's super fun and short and totally.
And what I will say too is like, finances are really big. Writing is free.
Writing is free.
Do the writing. Study story. read books, watch movies,
Watch
do your
movies,
stuff,
and
study
then
movies.
Yeah, look at why do you like them?
Yeah, exactly.
Or not like them.
And with directing, it's another thing. I know it's really hard because directing now you're depending on other people, because more than likely you can't do it solo, because you can't necessarily, unless you're doing like a vlog or something, you can't necessarily like
Right.
film yourself. Like you at least need an actor and like maybe someone to do sound. I don't know. Like you need different people, but start even just with an iPhone, like just start trying to like direct things together, get into an edit, get something together. I find the more limitations you have, the more creative you can be. So, you know, I would just say start. Just start. But yeah. And then if you have already started, keep going.
Yay.
Yeah, it's tough. It can be tough, especially like when you're developing stuff and you're in the writing phase or whatever, and you're just like, do I keep going? What is this good enough? Whatever you get in your head, blah, blah, blah. But just keep enjoying the process, keep going at it. Oh, this was a question that you did have actually, and I didn't answer.
What?
Was if you are working on multiple things, deciding which one you like want to go to.
Which one you give priority to.
Yeah, I mean, I would do the one that you're most passionate about at the time.
Perfect. Because then you might get sick of it, and then your passion can switch towards something else. Then you move towards that.
I mean, I would always try to like have something that's your priorities, just so that way you don't have like 10 projects that are unfinished, because that very much can happen. But I would, you know, be like, okay, my number one priority is finishing my feature. But then I know I have my little shorts that I do, and then like my TV pilot like in my back pocket, that like if I just have a day where I'm like in my head and like feeling like in a writer's block, I can go ahead and do that, and then make sure the next day I'm coming back to this other thing. Because normally that's what it is. You're just in like a writer's block, or you're just like getting freaked out over a big pivotal scene or whatever, you know?
And often putting it down and revisiting it and coming back to it with clearer eyes helps you, you know, decipher it better.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's writing and directing.
Jessica, thank you so much. This has been a very enlightening episode. It's cool just to see your journey and for me to know where you're going, and just to be like, oh, wow, this is so great. I love Jessica.
I love Monique.
Yay. And Hannah.
Yeah, and Hannah. She's with us in spirit.
She's working hard.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think writing and directing is like different. Like writing is creating the world on the page, and then directing is creating
the world visually and emotionally.
Yeah, and soundly.
No,
but yeah, it's crazy.
But you do like, you know, when you initially talked to me about like what drew you to cinema, you're like, it is the movie magic that draws you to it.
I wasn't a reader. I wasn't a reader as a kid. I would always just watch TV. This sounds bad. I would always just watch TV and films. No, but I'd be like playing my Barbies and like have my TV in my room. Yeah, and like I don't know, just as a kid, it
does help your creativity for sure. Parent Trap, yeah.
Shout out Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, who's pregnant now, by the way. Did you know that?
Stop.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she just announced that not too long ago.
Wow, congrats, Lindsay.
Yeah. I know. I want to be like her sister or something.
You need to be your friend.
Okay. But I don't know. Okay, fine. I want to be her twin sister. I want to be like Annie and Hallie. You know, I had dogs called Annie and Hallie.
Okay, we digress. If we were to be related to anyone, it would be to the Olsen sisters. To clarify.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Yes, you've made it to the end of this episode, but don't click that button just yet. Thank you so much for listening to this episode and all our other episodes. If you could please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, because it just helps out the algorithm. It helps us send it to more people, and the more people that listen, the more feedback we get, and we're able to do more of these episodes for you. We also have a Patreon. Please visit patreon.com/oldgirlsentertainment for as little as $1 a month. You can sign up and get extra goodies like extra mini podcast episodes and downloadable, templates that you could use in your filmmaking life. Thanks so much. We love you. Now go get set.